careful of people who act stupid who all of a sudden know a lot of stuff. Because there's a lot of people out there. Let me try to say an example without saying too much. Let's say you got a friend for like 30 years. You just doing nothing with them all the time, having fun, doing nothing, absolutely nothing. There's an entire war going on. Humanity's enslaved by some alien race, some alien species, and then you're just doing drugs with them and watching TV with them and doing absolutely nothing and stuff. And if you accept that, that's fine. Like that's exactly what is supposed to be happening from their half. Is you're supposed to be doing nothing. But then let's say one day all of a sudden they know what you're doing in private and things like that. Or they got someone, a friend, when you don't even have friends. And who is telling them what you're up to and what you're saying and things like that. Okay? Or in most extreme situations, some of the people come out with the God thing. Like you're God, you're controlling the world, and they've been that drugging, do nothing or else type person your entire existence. Some of these people got to the point where I was like, yeah, I don't want to do drugs today. I want to go do something of value with my life. And they threw all my clothes away for that when I was living outside. The 6-star David people, they all look the same. So eventually, I think you're really going to see that if you have these people in your life, if there are other living beings on this planet, if you have those people in your life, then you're going to notice that this same pattern comes from this same group of people who have worked diligently to place themselves in the human race's life to destroy them and disrupt them. And could be your children, even like Kanye West, he's screwed now. Not only are his bosses mad at him, but his children aren't going to like him now. Not only did his bosses fire him, but his wife and his children definitely have fired him. But yeah, I mean, that's suspicious in the first place, right? When you meet some person who's just like a total brain dead moron. And then one day, all of a sudden, they know, like, your personal life and things like this. And, things you do. Hell, some of these people, like, literally the one person would spend days just, like, sometimes a couple hours, like a half hour, 15 minutes, a couple hours a day, just be like, what are you doing? Like, literally, over and over. And it's like, I already told you, like, a million times, 100 times ago. First of all, I don't want to tell you what I'm doing because it's my life. It's none of your business. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to work and do things, and you're trying to run your mouth because you're scared to take estrogen to become the person who you really are on the inside. And if it's other person who already has estrogen on the inside, then once they say something too intelligent, you know something's up, don't you? Once they go from failing kindergarten to knowing your private life and things like this, knowing about your personal actions and interactions that are far away from them and their understanding. Some of these people are like try to argue, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like as if I didn't tell them 100 times, and they don't remember it 100 times before. So once a person starts doing this real extreme, I've been kindergarten dropout my whole life, but now I know a lot of stuff. That's not a living being. That's an evil clone that the world is the game is purposely showing you, manipulating their little puppet minds to show you things about that person so you take note of the position this person has chosen against your position of existence in life. So When people do that, we automatically add them to a list. These are, the game has the evil people. It's given them these tools and things, and so in the past, which didn't exist, they would call them witch hunts and things like that, which they even rewrote that the witch hunts didn't exist, basically, but possession and things like that. It's not possession. These people who have done this to me continually all look the same. And we have this all look the same group who has been enslaving humanity. And yes, some of them might be your best friends your entire life. Yes, that's what they do. They marry into your family. They become your parents, your wives, your husbands, your children. And that's how they win. That's how their people win. They have a religion. They're the master religion to the slave class religions. Literally has a holiday called Purim based upon that. I'm not celebrating Purim. I'm not the one. I don't go outside and decorate it in every city to convince you it's happening, and they do that. They're the ones who do that. And they're not necessarily living beings. They claim sometimes what they do, definitely not these liars who are so close to you that they're scared. They don't claim that. But outside of that, they might claim some other circumstances to why things are going on. But I don't believe that at all. That's it. They say it's like karma and they're trying to release their karma. I think it's literally the game. They're puppets. They're empty shells. And the game tells them what to say. Like the New World, let's go up to the top of the charts. The New World Order, Bill Gates comes out and says we're going to reduce your population, this and that. And they claim they have to say that because when they tell people that, then it relieves their karma. But I think that's just a game, giving them a stupid little reason to actually tell the storyline out front. So that's why they do that. And I'm definitely assuming, with good hints and tips, that when we already know when a dumb person says something intelligent, there's something up, okay? And now analyze those people who are going to do that in your life. What have they been doing in your life? Addictions, like TV, drugs, ignorance, slothism. Am I right? I've not met one of these people who... Now, I've met people I don't know who do the knowledge thing. That's like the first clue there that that's actually happening is when the stranger shapeshifters come up to you and talk to you about your personal life and stuff. So, I mean, technically the first clue for me was these other people who I had to begin to interrogate and stuff. And they went from kindergarten dropouts to magicians who knew my personal life. Who on the same hand, the day before, the day after, all the days before, all the days after, would continue to be like, what are you doing? You're garbage. You can't do anything like that. Just stop. Because you know why? Because I'm hunting them. That's why. If I have a friend who's black palpacy, if I'm hunting black palpacy as my presidential world leader candidacy as part of it, then I find out my friend's black palpacy. Why else are they in my life to make me, to try to berate me, make me be a sloth, make me do drugs, watch TV, all their little mindless, mentally ill addictions? Why else would that be the only group of people in someone's life? But let's stick with what other people can deal with. And from what I've seen, some of the people I've been with, the one person I've been with who I can get see again, who I thought might not be them, is with them now. And it was their friend and another person who looked like them who pulled us both from each other and stuff before they got with them. So now you know, they're they're the enemy now. They're not going to help anything. Their family is that's out. Their children, they're gone. That person as a bloodline is now the enemy permanently. Can't change it at all. But so you got to write people like that off, no matter how close they are or whatever. It's real easy for me when I found out. Like I'm, everyone tells me I'm hunting black papacy as a world leader and stuff like this, and then I spent a lot of time researching things, and so I eventually came across the names of the people who are real close to me, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's why they look exactly like these people, because they're not just those people. They're deep in the game. They're the higher echelons, and like people in my family have told me, like they say, like you're like part of some royal bloodline and stuff, and it's like I can see that. I went to school and I stared out the window, got all A's and awards from the president. Definitely, that's not. And none of that means any. Ooh, I'm royal bloodline. Ooh, I won awards from the president. Really didn't matter to me. But I also understand that they're trying to interfere with people's families like that. Like that is their religious holiday, to marry into and destroy bloodlines of people who are world leaders, who are royal families and stuff like that. So that is literally their religion they worship. They brag about it and open. They claim it's because of karma, and really, I kind of don't see a difference in NPC levels. Maybe positions they're assigned and stuff, but at the end of the day, I don't think they even have the brain power. And they're so cowardly and weak and such liars, they wouldn't come out and tell you the truth about anything because they don't. So when they do this dumb karma thing, it's obvious it's just a game. Like you watch a movie, you watch a game, and Bane's like, "Yeah, we're gonna blow the city up and stuff. Get rid of these hardworking people and stuff." And then there's very few people, if any. I mean, hell, a lot of people came up to me with the whole God thing after like 40 years of my existence, and it's like, oh, so you've been hiding that, huh? Something happened where your brain can magically have that thought now. And NPC evil all day when you see the ignorance turn to something who knows something. It's for lack of a better term, I don't like this term because this is their people's terms, devil possessed. If I start using their terms, you're just going to go give them all your money and go worship them. And you definitely don't need to do that. Wait, I don't like the word devil. I got some words I'd love to call them, but we have some of these pansy kindergarten dropouts here watching my channel who report me. So I can't tell you what I really would like to name them. But if you want to know what I'd like to name them, you can get a hold of me any other way and stuff. I'm always here or somewhere. I'm always on the planet somewhere. I'm forced to be here. I don't teleport and disappear into the hard drive like some of these other beings. I think some of them think they go to space. They go to fake space and on their spaceship. And I actually assume some of them understand at this point, calling me God, that I'm entirely telling them who they are, and they're probably not going to be able to come to terms with that at all. Whatever. I don't really care what they think. All I care is understanding the position and the fact that pretty much I've been thrown into the battlefield and shit on purpose, and You're born with the fortitude to be able to deal with that type of environment, whereas because the average person or other assorted clone species, whatever there is on the planet, would just, they would cry 24/7. They would use that as a reason to cry and hold you down, like some of these people. But I realized, like, some of these people were doing these things too. Like, looking back on that, like, once they became a person who knew something, like, looking back at their lives, it's like they all kind of had a similar pattern. Do nothing. Do nothing. Just sit there and do nothing. Do drugs. Do drugs. I might even tell you not to do drugs, but you're gonna do drugs when I tell you to. I mean, that's, have you met people before? Have you ever met a person before and knew them for more than a day or two? You know how they work. And like I said, maybe it's specifically more me, and it might be harder if some of these things really are non existent clones here to have an actual memory and stuff. And then the game itself not wanting to program characters who aren't the leading characters who are playing in the leading scenes and stuff with the proper information because they could disrupt it and stuff. But when someone's a moron or just generally a do nothing druggie, lazy TV addict, whatever. TV is, when I say druggie, I mean TV addicts, food addicts as well. And I've known plenty of people who did drugs, and those times weren't the times that they were suppressing me and stuff. I don't know, actually, for sure, because it's like a little continued pattern here and stuff that continually, that's what continued pattern means, continually, over and over and over. Okay, so it's easy to see. But if you meet a do nothing moron, and you know from good standing that this person really doesn't know things, even if they don't know the one thing they're talking about, when it comes up to like your personal life, that's the game signaling to you that this is an evil individual. The game has set this person aside as an evil person, and these things keep unfolding as they have been for since I came here. Then that's where the war is really going to be. Now, their war is going to be against everyone. Their war is going to be to pit everyone against everyone, and not allow you to say their name and just worship them. Like, literally, people just worship them again today. People are out there worshiping people who drugged and poisoned and stalked and terrorized me, force injected me, locked me down, and then still protect them when the mirror reflects that back on all of them. So there's nothing we can do here but just go with traditional game plan, what a traditional game would be laid out as, where you're set in a world where the fantasy dragons came back to the world, and the dragon people are here again, and then the hero is predicted to come back and save the world. And the game, and when you meet the dragon and the evil people in those games, they don't sit around. The Earth game's a little bit more complex in that way, because the dragon doesn't be like, oh, hey, let's go watch TV. Do you want to smoke some drugs? And you're like, oh, yeah, dude, this is so cool. Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, some games have more advanced storylines. Like Grand Theft Auto, there might be a friend you have who turns on you or something. But it's kind of like everything in this game can only come from like what is allowed in the game itself. So a lot of it is just all pointing at what's here. And those, even if they weren't just some evil demons, I mean, imagine some do-nothing druggie addict of any other sorts who has trampled your whole life, all of a sudden talking to you about your personal life, or someone who didn't necessarily trample you, but when you review it, that you're like, oh, that's the same pattern the tramplers do, and we never went anywhere. And now you're trying to trample me because I'm trying to do something instead of do nothing and do drugs and watch TV and sit around and do nothing. Make you cheeseburgers or whatever. I don't know. The point of some of them, I'm just assuming the point of some of them is the game is place such people there and that purpose, right? Like, why the hell else would I, my entire life, like 10% of my existence be with Jeffrey Epstein's peoples and stuff like that? And, 10%, and I mean directly Jeffrey Epstein when I say 10%. That's who my family worked for. That's who I worked for sometimes, because I worked for my family. Yeah, makes sense, right? If my family runs a business that I work for it. But yeah, be careful those people. We're gonna have to exclude anyone who isn't careful when these things unfold. Anyone who isn't careful is instantly excluded. And they're going to be the same person they've always been. You're going to know, who these people are and how they act. If the devil possession thing starts happening to them, know that that person is now not on your side. And you're probably going to be able to know that right away anyways, because generally the game is pretty plentiful. I'm looking for the cooler word, more literate word, but it's pretty generous with how it displays someone over and over and over and over and over and over and over until it just slaps you in the face with who they are and stuff. So when these things unfold further, I mean, they're already everything's kind of unfolded already. I mean, you really gotta be an NPC to not see what's happening right now. So, I mean, 2020, if you didn't think the world was screwed and there's some alien demon race controlling the planet after 2020, well, I'm not concerned with you, but if you know anyone, and you can figure that out, and you know anyone who acted like they couldn't figure it out, I guarantee you that's a know nothing, know everything person. That's gonna be one of these people. I guarantee you, you're one of the living characters here. The game's gonna show you, and it probably already has since then. It's probably already showed you that those people somehow are going to know things. And I really don't think they actually know anything. I think the game is just actually feeding them a script and stuff. To portray them as evil characters. I mean, they did a good job of playing evil characters. You'll be able to see that when they come to you. You'll be able to analyze all that stuff, unless it's a complete stranger, and then you're going to know right away evil character, because no one knows your personal life who's a stranger. Unless there's some stalker, and who are stalkers, they are bad people. And so, that's that. The do-nothings, no one really cares about do-nothings. But when a do-nothing has the attitude of hate and suppression, that's not a do-nothing. That is an actual do-something attitude. That's like a stormtrooper from the Empire. In this game, that is one of the devil's minions and stuff. That's why the game sets them up like that. That's why the game makes them stupid and unable to do anything their entire life, but then feeds them a little bit of things that are knowledgeable to say. And it will definitely tell you and let you know when it feeds them knowledge that knowledge is not knowledge, that they could have ever picked up a book. And in certain cases, you're going to know that these people don't even pick up books anyways. So the simple fact that they could have obtained any knowledge is just one of the many signs it's going to throw at you. It's going to throw like 6, 7 signs at you. It's probably been beating you in the head with some of those signs for a while and stuff. And as things come to their conclusion, then the game has been opening up and showing more of what's actually going on here and stuff, and displaying why things have been happening around you and stuff. So hopefully there are other people here who um, are on this side of the game here. So that's one thing definitely watch out for. And you definitely one of their best tactics is going to be, I'm not one of them. Literally, that's all they're going to say. And you're going to know this once they start coming at you with this knowledge that they've been. And in my case, I know this because I'm all political, right? So I'm sure the game's going to notify you in some way that they've been lying to you about not being one of them and stuff. So it became very apparent in 2020 when people were berating me and telling me what I'm doing in my personal life and just trying to waste every second of my life so I couldn't run for president or go work, go do anything except for sit there and do drugs and have them berate me and watch TV and other addictions that they tried to force down my throat and stuff. Which wasn't always successful, but you can't fight these people off. I mean, so it's acceptable for them to be addicts and sloths and force it upon other people. They made an entire society. This is part of who they are and who they've been since this place began to exist. This is how they work. This is why they own the media and the TV and the internet and all this stuff, because they're using it to enslave people and keep the slaves down to a reduced level of cattle. That's why they drug children. That's why their people have been drugging children for years. That's why they marry into people, because they want to kill those children. They want to drug those children. They want to turn them into cattle. They want to turn them into loyal cattle. They want to take over nations. That's why they have their religion, to celebrate and worship these events of taking over families and drugging and enslaving and killing them, taking over ruling families and stuff like that. This is how they act. This is how the game is laid out here, and it's signaling me. So I'm going to assume. I mean, if you have to be just the most utter complete liar on earth if you did not see that in 2020. I guarantee. I'm just gonna throw it out there. You're one of them if you didn't see it in 2020. And I already said that in 2020 a million times. So I'm not throwing it out there. I already said that. I said that in 2020 like 100 times. Right now is when you're gonna see who everyone is. We've opened up sight, and now it's like we were just like, hey, well, I know you're not a Nazi, but if you love Nazism, we know you don't want to say you're a Nazi, but if you love Nazism, go do this, and no one will notice. No one will have any idea that you're doing this stuff. And they're like, okay, let's do it. I mean, literally, it's crazy how that actually worked like that. I'm going to try to come up with another good thing here. Another real interesting movement, event, just, seismic, world-changing event that just, like double marks them. And they already said there's going to be like a devil mark for everyone. Well, guess what? We already had that, didn't we? But let's make it more apparent, because the masks weren't permanent. Let's do something like a tattoo on their head or something. I don't know. That way they can be like, I'm not a Nazi, while they're wearing their little Nazi symbols and stuff. And by Nazi, obviously, I I mean Zelensky, the people killing off all these people, not some fairy tale narrative of the one time the real Nazis were good people, and and then they help cleanse the Palestinians and invent Israel, and while hiding it, while taking over Germany and stuff like that. Just like right now, the real Nazis are taking over Ukraine to turn it back to Khazaria, and it's like I'm pretty sure that's like most of the planet working together on that right now. But hey, you're gonna see it. Like you already seen it with COVID. The numbers are real large here. It looks hopeless, right? It's really not because we can do the flooding thing or the splitting the earth. We got the volcanoes. We've got I mean, their nuclear weapons like are pretty much going to be like what we're up against. I'm assuming here and stuff. So we there's other things here, and I'm pretty sure all that stuff collides together towards the end of the storyline here as to why these things exist and why the other things alongside them exist and their purpose of the game. I'm still more concerned with why am I forced to be here amongst them and I'm not allowed to leave. That's my only real concern, and pretty much I feel anyone who has prevented that or is any part of any society that has prevented that. It took a whole society to build a society, not one of these people. I've never met one of these. I mean, I lie, right? Like I said, I work for the Epstein people. My family worked for them. So I've met some of these people. Yes, I have. They gave me money and stuff, okay? I worked for them. I got paid well, okay? It wasn't them who directly came and railroaded my life. Those other little minions all across the board and stuff. A lot of times they like to do this dress up as homeless people thing and use that to terrorize and rob people and stuff. And once you see them, you know they're there. But what can you do if you're trying to be nice and trying to enjoy the place and not turn into a hellish demon like every other human is on the planet? You know, I think the best thing we can do is justify our actions and use them to the best. Use them as methods to fight hellish demons versus just trying to wildly blindside everyone walking down the street. Although I'm not sure, COVID showed us, like, kind of like everyone walking down the street is working for the demons, aren't they? So, yeah, like I said, we got a lot of work to do here, and the game really has just reached its first starting stages. I've just begun to go outside into the game, but it was planned that way apparently because the parable of 2020 vision is when I asked to see what's going on, and that's when I'm given the burden of understanding who I am and that I have to be part of this, or I don't have to do anything. And in fact, that's part of the storyline there, ain't it? All of a sudden, at one point in time, someone doesn't want to play the game anymore, and then someone else gets to take over for a while. Interesting little parable they made there. But it's just written that way, and I'm assuming it's also because it's like kind of a forced, laid out script here by the special demon race species that the humans choose to worship to their own detriment, unwillingly sacrifice their children and families to in other ways other than the word sacrifice so they can feel good about what they do. And well, I like to be more logical and understand that manipulators do things to manipulate people and not for good purposes. They do it because they manipulate people. You get what I'm saying? You ever met a person who manipulates people? They're not doing it for good purposes, okay? There's sometimes Like there's this, like when you're a child, they have all this manipulation, the Santa Claus and all this, and it begins with their religion slaughtering your genitals so their friends can touch them and feel what it's like. Because the most precious thing isn't the little 8-year-olds, Epstein and pals I work with, sold. It's that's that's an old man to them. A 8-year-old boy is an old man. It's more precious. The baby's blood is more precious than an 8-year-old is used up, and it's time for it. Better go to work at McDonald's and start burning some hamburgers or something because it's running out of purpose and stuff. That's we know that's why these people think. What's that thing people say they do? Which I mean that's what they say they do, and they can never stop lying. So I doubt it. But and the adrenochrome, they like and then they take babies' fetus cells or to change the body and then flavor Coca-Cola with it and stuff. To them, it's just more. It's more like a spit in your face and stuff. Just like how they marry into your families and destroy you by doing that. And like they married into Kanye's West family, and they're probably Kardashian is probably drugging his children and stuff. In fact, I know it wasn't Kanye who talked about that. It was the other comedian who talked about them drugging his kid and him getting pissed off at it. Anyways, but hell, as far as we know, his wife was involved in making the drugging happen, and he had to marry into it. And that was Cat Williams. Cat Williams talks about that stuff too. I didn't actually look into it because I don't look into that stuff anymore. But as far as we can assume, he married into them, just like everyone else does. And that could be a real good reason why his children actually got drugged, was there was a person there manipulating him and abusing him into drugging his child for them, for their usual tactics of thousands of years of just sacrificing and mutilating and abusing children who aren't theirs to make sure that the slaves stay in a slave position and stuff. But let's be on the lookout and let's ostracize these people and keep them out of our circles. Let's keep them out of our nations. But at this point in time, I think we should probably give up USA because it's full of them. And it's surrounded, and their armaments are mostly gone, and they're losing their wars. So they deserve all that. And if the other people who aren't them just step outside, that stuff will be fixed real soon. But we're not going to be able to fix it with them here. So just make sure, I don't know, you ever come around me, I mean, it's mostly them who come around me, so I don't have to worry about that, right? I know everyone who come around me. Once the laws, there's no more cops to call, I know what to do to those people and stuff. And I've got no qualms with paying them back for what they've done repeatedly to me. They take my life from me for thousands of hours straight. Well, I've got better plans than that. I'm not going to take their lives from them. But, unless we just don't have time, right? But, I'm definitely not going to let them hide out and be protected while they have done these manipulative things. Hell, I burnt my bridges anyways, but, who knows who's going to come up and appear. I'm sure it'll be the same people always do, right? They just can't help themselves. The game can't help itself but keep doing the same thing over and over when it programs these NPCs to do this. Anyways, yep. Make sure, the least you could do is, I mean, I guess NPC can't have thoughts, but stop telling other people you hang out with them if you want friends and stuff, because when this stuff all breaks loose, people, at least near me, are either going to know who's who or who's chew, and they're going to know their position, know which direction they have. Well, they're going to get to choose the direction they have to travel after that.